Joining me today is Alex Zinnes from Hellenic Republic. Tell you what, that modern Greek food is to die for. I love it. And you're going to be cooking a very classic Greek-style donut today.
Yeah, I am. Loukomathes.
Loukoumades. Just the
Loukoumades.
name, you know it's going to be delicious.
You said that really well.
What's the difference between a classic donut and the donuts that you do at Hellenic Republic?
I think a classic donut's generally like a choux pastry, so it has eggs and dairy and a flour. The Greek donuts is a yeast risen batter, so it's a little bit different in that regard.
And you dunk it in a lot of honey.
Yeah, so we just start with all the dries. So you're going to put the flour in with the yeast.
Okay, just plain flour?
Just plain flour.
Yep.
Straight in there.
And we've measured that out. Now, Hellenic Republic, there's quite a few of them now, which is great because there's no excuse not to go, particularly in Melbourne. You're the boss of the Brighton establishment.
Yeah, that's
Is the food different between each store?
Look, we have some dishes that we keep the same, but I think Brighton's got a really big focus on seafood, but still keeping those staple Hellenic dishes.
Oh, yum. Yeah. Now, this is quite a lot of yeast.
It is quite a lot of yeast. You'll see you kind of need it. It keeps them really light and puffy and crunchy on the outside. So
instant yeast, and you can get from all of your supermarkets.
Yep, that's it. So straight in with the yeast. Okay. We're going to put a little bit of salt in there as well.
Sure can. Pinch of salt.
And with this much yeast, you don't really need to activate it. You see with a lot of yeast, you're activating at the start with some, warm water.
Yeah.
But this is just all dries in, and then you're going to put some lukewarm water on top.
Okay.
So I'm just going to get you to mix the dries a little bit, and then to that we're going to add the water. Important to make sure we've got lukewarm water. Just helps the activation of the yeast and the dough rise properly.
All right, well, we've got our water here, and I just slowly
add it,
slowly add it in. Nice, easy batter to remember. Love it.
Really easy, really simple. So once we've added all the water, we're just going to mix that for about 6 minutes.
Okay.
You're just looking for the dough to come around the paddle or the hook, whatever you may be using.
Yep.
That's sort of the gluten working in the flour. From that, you're going to ensure that you've got really crunchy Loukomathes.
Nice one. All right, well, 6 minutes. What can we get on to next?
Right, I'm going to move on to the syrup that we're going to douse these donuts in once they're cooked.
Yes.
Yep, so we're going to start with some honey.
Nice one.
So we've got 500 grams of honey. Goes straight in there.
And Greeks love to use honey, not just in sweet dishes like this, but also savoury dishes. Yeah. There's nothing better than that fried saganaki cheese with honey.
Honey peppered figs, yeah. That's one of our classics.
You have that
you
one
did well there. Yeah, we do.
I can't resist that dish at Hellenic. I love it.
We're going to go in with some sugar as well.
Okay.
All right, then we've got some spices. So we've got some cinnamon. We've got some cloves as well. That's straight in there. We've got a little bit of water that's going to go in. The zest of 1 lemon. So we'll just zest that in.
Yeah. I guess at home you can change it up if you want to use a little bit of orange zest. Why not?
You could use
different
orange.
Spices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're going to use the zest, you could even put a bit of the orange juice in if you wanted as well.
Lovely flavours.
All right, so zest is in there. We're just going to switch it on now.
And you cook this for a long time?
We're just looking to simmer it. Obviously, the cinnamon's going to infuse, the cloves are going to infuse. You want to make sure the sugar's dissolved.
Yep.
Just bring it to the boil, maybe simmer it for 5 minutes.
A bit of salt.
Yeah, a little pinch of salt.
Yeah. I guess it's going to bring out all the flavours.
Yeah,
more.
Exactly.
Yep.
I like to add salt into food, sort of contrasting the sweetness as well.
Yeah,
so bring it to the boil, reduce to a simmer, and then we'll chill it down and strain it before we put the donuts into it. All right, Joe, so we're just going to finish mixing the dough. Once it's been kneading for 6 minutes, just pour it into a bowl. Make sure we cover it. We're looking for it to triple in size.
Triple?
Triple in size, yeah. It's got quite a lot of yeast and it will rise up. So it's more of a size thing rather than a time.
Yep.
Obviously, depending on the temperature of the room and all those variables,
exactly.
We're looking for a triple in size batter, and then it'll be ready to go.
All right, looking forward to it.
All right, so time's passed, and you'll see that our dough's risen up nicely.
It's looking good, isn't it? It's alive.
It's alive, and it's ready for the oil. It's bath.
Nice.
So we've got some just neutral oil for frying, and we take it to about 180 degrees.
Okay.
And then we're going to fry those. They're going to go into the honey. And we're going to serve them with some walnuts, which you're going to chop up for me.
Sure can. Nice big handful. Texture, George Columbus, who's from the Hellenic Republic group, he taught me that. Always texture when it comes to a dish.
Really important.
Just tastes better, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Okay, so we're just going to, traditionally, obviously, these are done with by hand, but it can be a bit difficult and messy. So just a foolproof way for everyone at home in a piping bag. So we're just going to knock down the batter.
Nice and sticky. sticky.
Yeah, nice and sticky.
Gorgeous. It definitely tripled in size.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love how you didn't emphasise on how long it's going to take, because if you're doing this in the middle of summer, obviously it's going to go quite quickly.
Exactly right.
In winter, a little longer. I sometimes just leave it in the microwave, closed. Obviously, don't turn the microwave
really
on.
good idea.
And it's a nice warm area for it to start to activate.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah, that looks really good, Justine.
All right.
All right, we're just going to take off the end of the piping bag. Then we just pipe them into the oil.
Ooh, and so you just sort of nip
Just
it at the end.
squeezing at the end, it'll just cut it off.
So you get that perfect round Loukoumades. Oh, they're so perfect, aren't they? And so we're going to cook these until they go golden brown on the outside.
Golden brown.
Yep.
Start moving them around in the oil as well,
Yep.
so they're evenly coloured and
Yep.
evenly cooked.
Nice one.
It's really important. And they take about 2 or 3 minutes. We just
Yep.
need to make sure we're moving them around in the oil all the time, so they cook evenly.
Yeah, we get that perfect golden, crispy finish on them. Yummo.
Exactly.
They're just changing colour now. I can hear that they're crispy on the outside.
They're still a really nice light colour. There's a little bit of goldenness to them, but
Okay.
they're just about there. I know they're really crunchy, so we'll strain them off. Just make sure you give them a little shake, a little dry off like that. The air will help dry off that oil off the outside as well. Straight into your honey. Justine, I'll just get you to move those around in the honey for me.
Oh, yes. Look at that.
We've got a few more coming in.
You know, Alex, they remind me of baubles from a Christmas tree. They're actually quite festive, aren't they?
They are very festive.
Is there a particular time that you'd have these in Greece, or just...
Yeah, just all the time,
Just
Justine.
all the time. Okay, that's a good answer. They're really easy to make. So,
They are
yeah,
really
I would
easy.
be having them all the time. Speaking of that, when I grew up, when I was in primary school, this beautiful yaya would pick us up in the afternoons, me and my little brother.
Yep.
She would cook these for us every second afternoon. I tell you what, Mum wasn't happy when we get home from school. We didn't want dinner because we had so many Loukoumades.
I had a yaya of my own, so I was very fortunate. A little bit extra syrup on top.
Great.
Walnuts.
Walnuts, yep.
And then a little bit of cinnamon.
Again, another classic spice used in Greek cooking.
Everywhere. And that's it, Justine.
Dig in.
Dig in, should we?
I'm going for that one right there. Ooh, they're hot.
How are they? Good?
Oh, they are amazing. I love the cinnamon. I love the texture of the nuts. But most importantly, the donut is so light and fluffy and crispy on the outside. Alex, you're a legend. These are so delicious.
Thanks very much.